Moke's car collided with an oncoming vehicle, leaving her with injuries that would forever alter her world.
Lina's Campfire Folktales.
In the heart of Lagos, nestled in one of the city's wealthiest neighborhoods, stood a grand home, a symbol of success and fortune. Inside that luxurious house lived Amoke, a stunning woman in her late 30s who once had it all: a thriving business, a loving husband, and a life most would envy. But everything changed in an instant. One fateful evening, Amoke's car collided with an oncoming vehicle, leaving her with injuries that would forever alter her world. The accident robbed her of her hearing, plunging her into a realm of silence. The quiet that filled her life was no longer peaceful. It was isolating. Each day, she sat by her window, watching the world move outside, longing for a connection she could no longer hear. Her husband, Kola, was once her greatest support, but as the days stretched into weeks, and weeks into months, Amoke noticed something change in him. He grew distant, cold even. His warm touch was gone, replaced by a sense of disinterest. And then, there was her younger sister, Nefemi. Nefemi had moved into their home under the guise of helping Amoke adjust to her new reality. But there was something unsettling in the way Kola and Nefemi interacted. Something too familiar, too intimate. Amoke couldn't hear their conversations, but she could see it in the way they looked at each other. The subtle touches, and the whispers exchanged in the kitchen when they thought she wasn't watching. Amoke's suspicions grew, but without her hearing, she felt powerless. One day, while tending to her garden, something miraculous happened. She heard a faint sound, like a bird chirping in the distance. Her hearing had returned, but instead of rushing to Kola with the news, Amoke made a decision. She would wait. She would listen. That evening, Amoke stayed hidden in the shadows as Kola and Nefemi sat at the kitchen table, speaking in low voices. Her heart raced as she leaned in closer, straining to catch every word. And what she heard shattered her soul. "We'll have everything soon," Kola whispered to Nefemi, a sinister smile on his face. "Once Amoke is gone, the house, the business, her money, it will all be ours." Nefemi laughed softly, her voice filled with malice. "She trusts me completely. When the time is right, we'll make it look like an accident. No one will ever suspect us." Amoke's blood ran cold. The people she loved the most, her husband and her own sister, were plotting her death. Not only had they betrayed her trust, but they had also caused the accident that stole her hearing. She knew then that she couldn't stay silent any longer. But revealing that her hearing had returned too soon would give them the upper hand. So she devised a plan. The next morning, Amoke joined Kola at the breakfast table. He smiled at her as if nothing was wrong. "How are you feeling today, my love?" he asked, his voice dripping with false concern. Amoke calmly picked up a notepad and wrote, "I still can't hear anything." She showed it to Kola, who nodded sympathetically, all the while hiding the wicked smile that threatened to curl his lips. Days passed, and Amoke quietly prepared for the inevitable confrontation. She transferred her wealth into a charitable trust, ensuring that Kola and Nefemi would gain nothing from her death. She met with her lawyer and family members under the pretense of discussing her will, knowing it would all come to a head soon. The night finally arrived. Kola and Nefemi had planned a special dinner, inviting family and friends for what was supposed to be a joyous occasion. But Amoke knew better. She had seen Nefemi slip a vial of poison into her drink when she thought no one was watching. Kola grinned, pleased with himself. As everyone gathered around the dining table, Kola raised his glass. "To my wonderful wife, Amoke," he said, pretending to toast her health and well-being. Amoke smiled warmly, her eyes meeting his across the table. She placed her glass down and stood up, addressing the room for the first time in weeks. "I have something important to tell you all," she said, her voice clear and steady. The room fell silent. Cola's smile faltered, confusion washing over his face. Nefemi glanced nervously at her sister. "I can hear again," Amok announced, her eyes locking onto Cola and Nefemi. "And I know everything. The affair, the accident, the poison. It's all over." The room erupted in shocked gasps. Cola's face turned pale, his hands shaking as he stammered, "Why, you knew?" Amok nodded, her calm expression never wavering. "I've known for a while, and now the authorities know too." At that moment, the sound of sirens echoed outside. Police officers burst through the door, quickly handcuffing Cola and Nefemi as they struggled to comprehend how their perfect plan had crumbled so easily. As Cola was led away in handcuffs, his eyes met Amok's one last time, filled with anger and regret. Nefemi sobbed, her betrayal evident to everyone in the room. Amok watched them go, her heart heavy but her spirit unbroken. The silence that had once been her prison had become her weapon, allowing her to uncover the truth and reclaim her life. Later that night, Amok stood outside her home, watching as the police cars disappeared into the distance. She closed her eyes, breathing in the cool night air. The weight that had burdened her for months lifted, and for the first time in what felt like forever, she felt truly free. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments of clarity. And for Amok, that silence had been her greatest strength. The end. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and put on the notification bell.